We are still working on proportional relationships. Make sure that you put your last name and your first name and your class period. We have already worked on this. I'm trying to figure out the unit rate from tables. So our goal is to make sure that we have a 1 in one of the unit rate places. And then the constant of proportionality is that unit rate. So do you see how that goes together? That is also the constant of the proportionality, the one that goes with the 1. That's what it says right here. Find the value of 1 in the left column. The number in the column to the right of the 1 is the constant of proportionality, aka the unit rate. So this all ties together. If there is no 1 in the table, then you have to set up a proportion and figure out how to make that work. Reduce the fraction, use cross multiplication, all the strategies that we've talked about. Now, we're going to talk about how to calculate unit rate from the graphs. Proportional relationships can also be represented in graphs, which can be used to identify the constant of proportionality and make predictions. The making predictions part is the real life application. But they have to go through the origin. They have to go through the origin and be a straight line. So find the point 1 comma x. So let's go over here, 1 comma x. It looks like it crosses right there at the 4. This point is the constant of the proportionality or the unit rate. Guess what? You're looking for that 1. You're always looking for the 1, the 1, the 1, the 1. So make sure that you remember that. If you cannot clearly identify that coordinate, then you need to set up a proportion using another point that actually meets on the squares, on the little easy to read graph part. Example, the cost for 1 cupcake on this graph isn't obvious. So we find a point that is. So let's see, 836? So 836 is very obvious. So they set that up, cost per dozen, and they solved using cross multiplication. We're going to be doing cross multiplication, and more cross multiplication. So this says directions. Read each question carefully.
Good afternoon.
So we are going to do our cross multiply. 16 times x goes on one side of the equal. The other side of the equal is going to be 12 times 64. So I'm going to use my calculator because I was given one. So I'm going to use it. 12 times 64 equals 768. So again, I'm writing that under here. That is the first step that I take. Okay, now I have to divide both sides by that 16 so that I can eliminate and isolate that variable. Okay, so taking that 768 and dividing it by 16, I get 48. So the answer to this one is 48. All right, let's do the next problem. Cost of bananas. So now we have, instead of a table, we have the graph. So explain what the point 5, 2.5 stands for. So 5, 2.5 is right there. That means 5 pounds of bananas. 5 pounds of bananas cost $2.50. That's pretty easy. What would the constant of proportionality be for this graph? Now, we've covered this, but we're covering it more. This is one that's supposed to be easy. We look for the 1. See the 1 right here in the x? Where does it cross? It cross at 50 cents. So the constant of proportionality for this graph would be 0.5, 50 cents, because that 1 crosses there. Okay, this is back to more practice with cross multiplication. So I'm putting 30R on one side, and I'm putting 18 times 10 on the other side. 30R equals 180. And now I have to isolate that variable by using that inverse operation and moving the 30 to the other side. That means R equals 6. So I'm going to type in my answer as 6. Another question where I'm using this graph to try to find my answers. So what does the 0.43? So 4 dozen cupcakes needs 3 cups of sugar. That's what I'm going to type. 4 dozen cupcakes need how many cups of sugar? 3 cups of sugar. Now the next question is going to be, what is the constant of proportionality? So I'm going to have to go find where that 1 is and look. Doesn't quite match. So I'm going to have to find one that's easy. That matches. Ooh, but I don't like 1.5. So let's do 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm going to choose this point. So sugar is 3. 4 is dozen cupcakes. And I need the 1 to be where the dozen cupcakes is, because that's what I'm solving for. And the unknown is x. So I'm going to do 3 times 1. Put it on this side. Oops. 3 times 1 equals 4 times x. Now I can solve. 3 times 1 is 3 equals 4x. I have to isolate the variable by dividing both sides by the 4. So that leaves x equals 3/4, which could be 0.75 if you want to put that. So I'm going to type that right here. The constant of proportionality for this one will be 3/4. Okay, we are going to do our cross multiplication. 3 times x goes on one side of the equal. 2 times 13.5 goes on the other side of the equal. 3x doesn't change, but I can do 2 times 13.5. If you have a calculator, use it, but I know that one, 27. So now I have to isolate that variable by using that inverse and moving that 3 to the other side. You're left with x equals 9. So you'll type in here 9. Last one. Explain what the point 1821 means on the graph. So I'm going to explain 18 gallons of gas cost $21. 18 gallons of gas cost $21. So now I'm going to submit and hope that mine was all right. Wish me luck. Okay, let's figure out where I'm not perfect. What did it want that I didn't give it? Oh, it needed the x equals. So hopefully you guys finished watching this. These counted all of these wrong because I did not put my x equal. See, I did it again. And I did it again right here. So make sure that you go back and correct what I learned so that you get it right.